Well, this is Sweetie. She sat in the garage for 3 years, full of mouse poop now. The sad ass stock engine. Definitely what you might call a barn find. The only problem is everything on it is stock. So, kind of shame to gut the engine, since it's a good engine, but not enough power. I want 400 horsepower. We want to be screaming fast in this little car. It's going to be fun. I'll keep you informed on how the project goes along in the future.
Things that make us go.
Mike.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Gonna do some checking out of some Honda stuff.
Yes, let's see what you got, what you have. Tell us about your shop first. Tell us
Well,
about your new shop.
Tier 3. We've been in business for about 6 years now. Started off just kind of doing work for friends, family, trying to get a reputation built with the community. Was more like private for many years until we actually moved to this location. Really just doing anything automotive related, whether it be general repair or performance aspect related stuff. We just kind of took on everything we could to build a name for ourselves, and 6 years later here we are, and doing general repair, maintenance, and performance. It's just it's kind of the best of both worlds, because you got to pay the bills, but you get to have some fun, and people like you walk through my door and I get kind of both.
Let's have fun with this piece of shit.
Yep, so I can't complain whatsoever, man. But I guess you kind of got to walk around to see what we do. Obviously, we got a table full of stuff in here that would give you a generalized idea.
Which end you want to start at?
Let's go start over here. Suspension, people will always say, is like the most important, so that's what we did. I mean, I think it's the first part that most people start with. So we went to one of the most reputable companies, Skunk, to make just a wide variety of Honda parts, and got you some of the more generic parts like ball joints and control arms, to make sure that we can achieve proper alignment angles and more or less just update everything that you got on the car. You kind of came to me with a true GT touring car, so I figured you wanted the best of both worlds, is handling and power. So I think with a lot of these components, like
speed that will last.
Yep, control arms, actual shocks. Like I said, Skunk 2 makes some of the better quality parts, so we got it all for you. That way, once you get into the mountains, you can do some twisties and stuff. But camber arms, those will go in the rear to make sure that your rear camber is in check. These are lower control arms for the rear. Come equipped with poly bushings, and these are all billet CNC machined, one piece.
What else we got?
Springs. You told me you didn't want to go super low, so Skunk 2 actually made these 1/2-inch lowering. So you don't have a big drop, but you should be able to have a comfortable ride yet.
Excellent. New wiring?
Moved out, yeah. Wiring, we got rye wire.
Wires usually go bad, no one messes with them.
And like Rye Wire is the company we sourced it from, and they do a good job of like labeling where everything goes. So for some reason, like if you're not as familiar with the car and you have to poke and prod around and you do unplug something, like you just know where it's supposed to go. Radiator, we're going to be making more power out of this thing, so we got a Mishimoto. This is actually a 2-core with aluminum end tank, so this is thicker and bigger in overall size than your factory one. Should handle all the cooling that you're gonna need. Some of the more cooler and bigger components is the Speed Factory manifold. I know,
tell me about this.
So this is one of those parts that we had to wait 10-12 weeks for, because you kind of wanted like the creature comforts, power steering, air conditioning, and not every manufacturer is going to make a manifold for a turbo kit that clears both of those components. And Speed Factory does, but you have to make the order. They start making the components to fabricate what you see now, and as you can see, they do a good job. I mean, if you have anybody watch the show that
it's going to clear everything.
Yeah, they do. And I think they even give you a year warranty on it at the very least on all their welds. So if it like cracks for any reason, like it's just fixed. So, but I don't foresee that. This is made out of like a much thicker gauge stainless than what you'd see on like something from eBay. So something like this wouldn't, I don't think it's gonna crack, but awesome component. I mean, one of the more expensive ones, but it'll be front of the engine bay, front and center, so you can see that sucker plain as day.
Excellent.
Clutch, we upgraded your clutch components. This is what they refer to as a 6-puck. It's just going to have more clamping force, so when you're trying to put that down.
What's in their stock?
It's what they consider a full face, and then this is what does the grabbing, is your pressure plate. So when you make more power, you actually have to upgrade the material that's on the disc and the clamping force of the pressure plate. And we did that. This isn't a very heavy clutch. I believe this is a stage 4. They do make heavier where they don't have springs in the disc, but honestly, this is a little bit overkill for what you're doing, but
Okay.
it's better to be overkill than to like kind of match these components to wear them harder.
Right.
So another big component, turbo. You specifically came through my door with those requirements, so you said VTEC turbo. So
Yep.
core component. This is a T3 flanged Garrett Generation 2 2871 ball bearing turbo. So it's small in frame, but it flows a lot of air. So like your car is not very big. We also don't want to
Cut through the hood to fit.
do a whole lot of custom fabrication. We know that there's some necessary, but I don't think that we wanted to go too crazy. So this will reduce the amount of turbo lag, being a smaller size turbo, and you'll just find yourself in power. Like if you want to go, there won't be a whole lot of downshifting. This will produce pressure fast. So
Excellent.
good stuff here. And these are all like great engine components, great manufacturers, good brand names.
Tell me about Greedy. This looks unique.
Greddy is
Greddy.
probably one of the more reputable Japanese parts manufacturers. This is more just like a cool component. Once the engine's all together, this will sit in your engine bay. The gear will be behind there, driven by the timing belt. And it's not something that you would typically see while it's running. So like, it's just one of those things, if it's clear and you get to watch it move, cool. It was like the invisible engine when you were a kid. You can watch all the parts move.
Excellent.
I know I had one of those, but the other things are more engine related from left to right. You wanted like black and red theme.
Yes.
So red Mishimoto hoses. So like we have everything, anything coolant related in the engine bay will now get a 2-ply silicone red pre-molded hose. It's nice enough that they give you a whole kit, so there's no guesswork. You just have it all.
And these fit even with all the new parts and stuff?
Yep. Some of them we won't need because there's going to be a little bit of deleting in the process, but whatever we do need is here, and it's good quality stuff. Going along with the black and red theme, more power means we need to like hold it in the engine bay. So we got you Torque Solutions mounts, another one of the best manufacturers out there. So they give you 3 of them. Consider it like a tripod, how it's held in the engine bay. So one goes on the left side of the engine, one goes on the right side of the engine. There's another one in the back to kind of stop it from rocking. And those will hold everything in place so you don't have a whole lot of slop. Black. They make them in different colors, but black themed. These are more turbo related components. Blow-off valve, which vents pressure. Wastegate, which also does the same thing, but on the exhaust side. Anodized red to fit your theme. Again, tile is probably like one of the higher end brand name parts that you'll actually see in the market. So you got the good stuff. Skunk 2, another product that
Racing throttle bar.
Yeah, I felt was a little bit necessary because we're going to be putting forced induction onto this engine. So a little bit more air into the intake manifold is always better. Black billet, I believe that's a 72 millimeter. I think stock is 52 or 54. Don't quote me on that. More black stuff, AEM fuel rail, more components that'll look paired with black and red in the engine bay.
Excellent.
And then the rest is really Gaskets and engines internals. We're missing like the piston and rods and the block because they're out from machining. But what we do have is engine management. In the Honda world, S300 is hands down probably one of the most widely used for Honda. So they'll do all their tuning and calibrations with that. I know that is another gear. You saw the purple one earlier. I think we mentioned that one will look way better.
With the rest of your engine being red.
Purple's kind of out of place, so that one will look better. We already had that one before we got the other one. We could only get that clear cover with the gear, so. This will be the VTEC head that we're going to be using. Obviously, it's 100% OEM and whole right now, but we have larger valves on the intake and exhaust side that will assist with the turbocharged application.
Stainless steel?
Stainless steel valves, higher tension valve springs with the respective keepers for them. That'll all just be part of the head building process. ARP head studs that hold the head on tighter. They just have more clamping force. Once you start putting boost into the engine, the head will want to lift up off of there. So ARP head studs are an absolute essential. But that pretty much runs down everything minus the minor details, you know, camshaft, fuel pump. Matching your theme, I hope I did a good job.
Yeah, it's coming along great. Got a bunch of parts now. Can we put them in a car? Because I can't do anything with the parts.
Yeah, well, and I think the last time you're in, like, we were talking about getting all the stuff out of the engine bay, getting that one out of there and start stripping it to see if we can get that painted.
We should paint the engine bay, and I want that silver with glitter bomb.
Hell yeah.
And then the inside of the hood, that'll just be
that dark black.
The flat black, that Vanta Blue or Black 2.0 or wherever they're calling it.
Sure. And I think that's a reasonable expectation. You know, I don't know that I want to look at these sitting around too much longer without putting them on an engine. Like, I'd like to see the whole thing complete. I did hear back from the machine shop last week. They said that they got the crank straightened, and they're going to proceed on with the rest of the machining. So I anticipate probably 4 to 5 weeks for them to machine and assemble. But they said that they'll be in touch when they do. So once the engine comes back, we can get, well, I'll drop the head off to be built in the meantime, but then we can start bolting all this stuff on, and you can actually start to see the engine take shape.
We'll want to see that. And when will be the first time you fire it up or get running?
So we actually, depending on how the whole process goes over the winter, I mean, spring, my goal is to 100% have this thing ready for spring. You know, I'll probably fire it up over the winter just to make sure that it runs like it's supposed to, check for leaks and do the basics.
I think we'd like to see the first engine firing.
Oh, you'll definitely be here.
Especially if it like leaks.
Yeah. Well, you got to catch the good with the bad. Some of it's like the first startups are sometimes humiliating because you may forget like the dumbest thing, but everybody's human.
No one added gas to it?
I've actually done that 10 years ago when I built my first engine that's in my car still. My dad was there, you know, like 3 of my greatest friends were there, and I'm turning the key and it's not firing. I'm just like upset, and you can see it in the video because they got me on video, and my dad just goes, "Is there gas in it?" And I was like, you know what? I don't think so. And sure as shit, like, they stopped the video. 20 minutes, I come back with gas, and it fires right up. But like, stupid things to miss, so it happens. And I'm more than willing to let you capture that all on video.
Excellent. We'd like to see that because my life, that shit always happens. That's day one. You know.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it all come together. We seem to line these up perfectly where we start a big one and it gets finished, and then we have another one almost ready to just completely go after. So, and we're there with this one.
I'm going to put a luggage rack on the back.
I keep seeing that. I'm actually excited to see it.
That's what some people are like, why the fuck you putting a luggage rack on a fast car? Because why not?
I seen a guy come to the track this weekend with a trailer hitch, and he had 6 tires on like one of the carriers that bolt into the trailer hitch. It's like a little caddy, but he had 6 tires, and he shows up at the track, 6 tires, unloads it, super simple, rips his tires, puts them all back in the thing, and leaves for the weekend, drives it for wherever the hell he came from.
All right, well, we'll see y'all then. Until then, puff, puff, pass, no parking on the grass. We're out of here.
That's kind of the gig I get all the time because I built my car the same way. It's so clean in all aspects that when I go to a track event, people are like, you should probably be at a car show. But then when I go to a car show, they're like, this is a track car. So no purpose whatsoever, whatever, trips your trigger, really.